According to James Mooney's book, Myths of the Cherokee, Spearfinger was a terrible ogress, a woman monster whose food was human livers. But this wasn't just any evil monster. Spearfinger was also a shapeshifter with a stone hide. According to Mooney, she could take on any shape or appearance to suit her purpose, but in her right form, she looked very much like an old woman, excepting that her whole body was covered with a skin as hard as rock, and no weapon could wound or penetrate, and that on her right hand she had a long, stony forefinger of bone, like an awl or spearhead, with which she stabbed everyone to whom she could get near enough. Because of Spearfinger's stony skin, the Cherokees sometimes called her a word in their language meaning stone dress. The hideous witch had curious powers over stone. According to Mooney, Spearfinger had such powers over stone that she could easily lift and carry immense rocks and could cement them together by merely striking one against the other. To get over the rough country more easily, she undertook to build a great rock bridge through the air, the Tree Rock on Hiawassee over to Whiteside Mountain on the Blue Ridge, and it had well started from the top of the Tree Rock when the lightning struck it and scattered the fragments all along the whole ridge, where the pieces can still be seen by those who go there. As a side note, I find it interesting that this witch could easily move large boulders, and she built immense structures. Many have theorized that the ancients who built megalithic edifices around the world were able to transport stones by means of levitation. Did Spearfinger unlock and harness this same extraordinary power? And if so, why would someone with such amazing abilities remain in the basest of forms, a murdering, liver-eating monster? At any rate, the evil Spearfinger would kill anyone she got close enough to, and she made a meal out of the victim's liver. However, she was particularly fond of luring children deep into the woods where she would kill them and remove their livers. One of her tricks was to appear as a family member, usually a grandmother, and approach the children playing near a village or find unsuspecting children picking berries. According to Mooney, she would then say to them coaxingly, "Come, my grandchildren, come to your granny, and let granny dress your hair." When some little girl ran up and laid her head on the old woman's lap to be petted and combed, the old witch would gently run her fingers through the child's hair until it went to sleep, when she would stab the little one through the heart or back of the neck with her long awl finger, which she had kept hidden under her robe. Then she would take out the liver and eat it. Spearfinger would also break into homes. She gained access by disguising herself as a family member who had recently gone out. She would then kill whoever got close enough and, of course, eat their liver. The vile witch had to be stopped, and the Cherokee formed a great council to deal with the problem. Mooney recounted the demise of the witch. He said, "The people came from all around, and after much talk, it was decided the best way would be to trap her in a pitfall where all the warriors could attack her at once. So they dug a deep pitfall across the trail and covered it over with earth and grass as if the ground had never been disturbed. Then they kindled a large fire of brush near the trail and hid themselves in the laurels because they knew she would come as soon as she saw the smoke. Sure enough, they soon saw the old woman coming along the trail. She looked like an old woman whom they knew well in the village, and although several of the wiser men wanted to shoot at her, the others interfered because they did not want to hurt one of their own people. The woman came slowly along the trail with one hand under her blanket until she stepped on the pitfall and tumbled through the brush and into the deep hole below. Then at once she showed her true nature. Instead of the feeble old woman, there was a terrible stonehide with her stony skin and her sharp awl finger reaching out in every direction for someone to stab. The hunters rushed out from the thicket and surrounded the pit, but shoot true as often as they could, their arrows struck the stony mail of the witch, only to be broken and fall useless at her feet, while she taunted them and tried to climb out of the pit to get at them. They kept out of her way, but were only wasting their arrows, when a small bird, the titmouse, perched on a tree overhead and began to sing. They thought it was saying heart, which meant that they should aim at the heart of the stone witch. They directed their arrows where the heart should be, but the arrows only glanced off with the flint heads broken. They then caught the titmouse and cut off its tongue, so that ever since the tongue is short and everybody knows it's a liar. When the hunters let it go, it flew straight up into the sky until it was out of sight and never came back again. The titmouse that we know now is only an image of the other. They kept up the fight without result until another bird, the chickadee, flew down from a tree and alighted upon the witch's hand. The warriors took this as a sign that they must aim there, and they were right, for her heart was on the inside of her hand, which she kept doubled into a fist, this same all hand with which she had stabbed many people. Now she was frightened in earnest, and began to rush furiously at them with her long finger, and jump around in the pit to dodge arrows, until at last a lucky arrow struck just where the long finger joined her wrist as she fell down dead. Ever since, the chickadee is known as a truth-teller, and when a man is away on a journey, if this bird comes and perches near the house and chirps its song, his friends know that he'll soon be home safe. Today there's a smattering of stories, especially on the internet, of Spearfinger haunting Fontana Lake and the Noland Creek Trail on the North Carolina side of the Smokies. She's been blamed for disappearances in the area as well. This is probably internet fancy, but nevertheless, it's creepy to think about and makes you wonder if perhaps she's lurking in the shadows somewhere.